Right, I'm just going to take this, there's a little bolt here, holds this bracket on, which is part of your brake line. So I'm just going to loosen that, well, I'm not going to loosen it, I'm going to take it off. So I'm going to take this bracket off. Just move that out of the way and shove it out there. Down there. Now then, pretty sure that I had the right, that's it. Right, let me span it on. Right, I need to lever this out. Now, since I've undone this, I can actually move the whole engine, and I'm hoping that I'm going to get myself enough clearance that I can drop this bolt out like I did last time. So, I need to just find a lever and chock it out like I did last time. Right, I'm just going to knock you off a sec, just till I get this chocked out. I'll be back in a minute. Oh. Right, what I was doing off camera is I was using this piece of nylon to try and chock the exhaust, well, not just the exhaust, pulling the whole engine to one side. And what I found was that I could actually do it and undo the bolt at the same time. So I'll drop that back in, and that's dropped that bracket off. So what I'm going to try and do now is pry this rubber out. Oh, that was fucking easy. There doesn't actually look to be anything wrong with them. Well, with that one anyways. So what I need to try and do, swing arm's moving freely, so I'm just going to get my bar again. And just see if I can tap this. I held it a bit more. What you'll have just seen there, that's my spacer out the swing arm. I hope you're seeing this actually, am I in the right? Yeah. And what's happened is, it's just dropped on the other side. Oh, yeah. So I'm just going to pull. Right, what I've done on the other side, I've just pulled the whole assembly out, and I'm going to have a good look at this side. And this bush on that side looks to be fine. So I'm just going to stick that down there out of the way. Find a bit of rag. Clean the grease off my fingers. Another thing I need to do is a couple of clips that hold that brake line onto the swing arm. So I'll just lift it off. Let's turn the screen first so I can see. Right, zoom out. Oh, just get in here. Now fucking lights reflecting on the screen so I can't see the fucking thing. That's better. There's a clip just there. Is there? Yep, just there. And one just there. I just need to get in with a screwdriver and just unclip them. Then I can lift the brake line out the way. Because by rights, that swing arm should just pull out. So, as you can see in that, well, there you can see the swing arm's just hanging, and there's the other hole through the gearbox. So I just need to unclip that, and I'll be able to lift the swing arm out. So I'll just quickly do that off camera. There's going to be no work involved, just simply unclip that brake line and that swing arm will just lift out. There's nothing holding it in. There's nothing else I'm going to do off camera apart from unclip them brake line clips. So I'll knock you off and I'll just pull the swing arm out and we'll have a bit nosy at that after. Right, we're back soon. Right, I've lifted the swing arm out. Took all that was holding it in, as I said, was the two clips which are on here. You can just see that one there. That's all that was holding the swing arm in. I haven't done anything else that you should know about. All I did, unclipped them two clips and that was it. I could then lift the brake line off and then just lift the swing arm out. So, on the inspection side of things, if I put that in there, and as you can see, that's fucking stiff. That shouldn't be that stiff. But on the other hand, that one, yes, they're meant to be able to move like easily, but not that fucking easy. And they're not meant to be able to. It's hard to get it to do it without. It's actually moving in and out slightly, and I don't mean the spacer that's sitting inside the bearings moving. The bearings got movement in it, and it's also, again, you won't be able to see it from up there, like on the camera. But if I try and keep it steady, there's actually side to side movement in it. This bearing's fucked. This spherical bearing's fucked. That one's, for some reason, has gone mega tight. So basically, I've had a look at the shaft and the like the spacers and bushes and stuff that are in the swing arm. They're fine. I'll double check, measure them, make sure there's no, no wear, no major wear in them or out like that. But basically, the bearings are fucked, which is what I thought. If you remember, I I say, if you remember, anyone that watched the last video where I mentioned about what I was going to be doing with this, I explained how we were going around Scotland. For those of you who didn't already know, we were away around Scotland last year, and basically I was following a car, you know, not close or out like that. It was just, there was a car in front of us. The car was driving at a sensible speed. What I'm trying to say is I wasn't going stupid fucking speeds or out like that. Going around the corner, I was leaning it a little bit, but not stupid excessive leaning. Anyways, I hit a fucking pothole. Now, not major about that. I've hit potholes before. Little wobble on front end, little wobble on back end, but after that it just didn't feel right. Something wasn't right. It's almost as if I had an alignment issue. Anyways, we did the rest of our holiday. When I got back, I jacked the bike up and I could actually, there was movement in the back. It just, I knew something had gone in there, and basically that's what it is. It's this side bearing's fucked. So now, as I say on the last thing, I've got new isolation bushes, isolators, whatever you want to fucking call them. Or if you want the correct term, you know, so that people don't. Let's see if I've got the invoice in here. I don't know if this is the invoice off. No, all it's saying on here is mount. Down here somewhere. Mount front engine, mount swing arm. But basically, there's new swing arm bearings and new isolator mounts, which is that's the isolator. That's the one I've just took off. But that's an isolator. That's a bush that sits in the swing arm. So I know that, but somebody on one of my videos decided to point it out to me, because I was calling them bushes, basically, even though I'd already shown the package that calls them fucking isolators, you know. But somebody obviously sat on the sofa, thought they'd correct me. So for all you lot out there, that's an isolator, that's a bush, that's a swing arm. The bearings are fucked. There's another bush in here that sits inside the bearing, one in each side. I need to knock them out. But yeah, I've got new ones of them. I'll measure them, make sure they're alright. But for now, I'm going to knock you off. I'm going to take this, you can see here, I've got the belt guard on here, it's just held on with 3 bolts. So I'm just going to take that off, give this swing arm, knock these bearings out. I'll film knocking the bearings out and the bushes. Then I'm going to give this a good clean and see what I think, whether or not it's going to go and get powder coated, or whether or not I hit the certain areas with a wire brush and just paint some rust, anti-rust paint in there, if you know what I mean. Right, back soon. Right, I'm going to knock the bush out that's inside the bearing. Now I'm just going to knock these out because the bearings are fucked anyways. So when I put them back together, they won't be braiding, if you know what I mean. So I've got an old socket on an old extension. This basically has been used before for knocking stuff out. So just line it up with the. Oh, also I've got a lump of nylon that's just right for keeping it all level, and it's nice and steady, as you can see there. Well, steady, it'll rock, but what I mean is it's sitting steady on the nylon bit of bar. Right, and basically get yourself a good hammer, and if you're hitting an extension like that, don't use a steel hammer if you can get away with it. This is a big brass hammer. So, right, and just give it a good knock. It should come out quite easy, these. You know, they're not like a super hard tight fit. So just give it a good knock. And that's the inner bush. That's the bit that obviously slides inside your bearing. So, and I'm going to do the same with the bearings. I'm just going to knock them fuckers out and all, because as I say, they're knackered. Right, just put that on. But first I'm going to turn it over. I'll unscrew that. I've still got the bolting out of the shock. Just unscrew that and then turn it over. And then I'll knock the knackered one out. So just line it up. As you can see, that one just fell out with one whack. So just stick that over there. As I say, I'll be measuring these up and checking the shaft. Another thing I'm going to do with the swing arm shaft is I'm going to put it in my little rollers so I can check it, make sure that it's not bent. Because if it's not bent, I'll be able to get a new one sorted. Right, for now I'm just going to call it a day. I just want to have a quick look in here, and what I'll do is I'll get another bar, and then I'll knock the bearings out. But I'll come back for that. I also want to have a quick nosy in here first, scrape a bit of the shit away. Oh, right, back soon. Right, I got a phone call which sort of distracted me a bit, and I set to and started knocking these bearings out, and I did one side and then fucking realised I hadn't put the camera on. So this side I haven't done yet, so I'm just going to do it now. So what I was doing before, I was just having a scrat in here to make sure there wasn't any like damaged surface inside, because the bearing knocks out from you hit it on this side and knock it out that way. So if in a sense the bearing comes up, there's actually a stop in the swing arm on this bit here. So when you put your bearing back in, you just push the bearing in all the way till it hits that stop. They're easy enough to do, and again I'm just using a socket because the bearings are already knackered, so I'm not bothered. I might even use the same socket to put them back in with. So basically, just get your. Oh, what I've also done is I've sprayed a bit of WD around the top of there, just so just put your socket in, same hammer as before, get a good out of that shaft so it doesn't go anywhere. Might take a couple of good whacks, that's moving and that's out. But it'll go so far, and then basically it goes slack because it's machined inside. The surface that this bearing goes in, like if I show you here actually, if I just put that there, see the bearing just drops in and disappears, and I can just push it freely back out of there. So when you get further down to about there, that's when the surface is machined for the snug fit on the bearing. So they are quite easy to change. But what I'm going to do now is pretty much give it a clean off, give it a proper good wash, and then I'm going to make my mind up whether or not I'm taking it up to get it powder coated. It's not actually in super bad nick. I don't know if there's a couple of bits here where it's like scabby looking, but that's the bottom side. The Swingarm as a whole isn't in that bad a nick. There's a bit of rust on that bit where the brake caliper sits, but it's just surface stuff, it's not like rotten. Yeah, I think I might just take it and get it, at least it will be right. So I'll need to take them off if I'm going to take it up. So that's the swing arm out and the bearings and bushes and everything knocked out. So for now I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to make my mind up whether I'm going to get that powder coated or not. I really am erring on the side of just taking it up and getting it powder coated. But what I'll do is bits and pieces while I can get at it. I'm going to just give it a bit of a general clean. So I am going to, as I've mentioned, I am going to check my swing arm shaft, the pivot shaft, to make sure that's like not bent. I'll measure the insides of them bushes to make sure there's no wear in them, and just generally have a clean up, take some more bits and pieces off, seat and tank, etc., so I can get to the adjuster on the top of the motor, because obviously when this starts to go back together I need to do an alignment again. So we'll go from there. So for now that's it. Oh, I'll be back soon. Okay peeps, it's the next day and I've just come back from the powder coaters. I've got my swing arm, I took my swing arm up there this morning. They'll have that, it's like a 5-day turnaround. So I've delivered it this morning to get done, but what I thought I'd do today, now I can't see the camera so I'm not 100% sure what you're going to see. I've set it up so that you can see this lot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the front engine mount, put the new engine mount in ready. So we'll set to, now the first thing, we'll take the regulator off when I can find my tools again. I also need my snips, so I've got a cable tie on there, wiring. Right, so first for me, on this clip here I have a cable tie round and it goes through a little there's a tag that you put the cable tie through on here, and it helps, so, I don't know what you can see, I don't know how dark it is, but it helps to keep these connectors together. So basically just try and get some light on the job, and we'll pull this plug out. So just disconnect your plug on there, and then right underneath here, when you lift your regulator off, there's another connector, but first you have to undo, there's a bolt on it, sorry, a nut on either side of the regulator. It's a 7/16, so just loosen that off. Just make sure I've got this set right. Now I've also got a wheel in the way. Try and do this without smacking into any paintwork. And also without smacking my fingers on anything. Right, so that's that one loose. I'll just quickly loosen this side off as well. Once it's loose, I can just wind them off with the screwdriver sort of part. Right, so I'll undo these two nuts, take them right off, just open them down there for now. The washers, I'll get them when I take the regulator off. Same on this side. Just drop that off. So I've took the two nuts off, and what we've got on this side, I'll just get this torch on the right thing. There's a clamp on this side that holds this wire, and that can come off. I'll push that up out of the way. And on this side there's also a clamp that holds another wire, which is just a little bit more awkward to get at. But nonetheless we can still take it off. So just lift your regulator up out of the way, and then right underneath, which you won't be able to see for a second, you just need to push. There's a connector under here that's a little bit awkward to get at, but it's on like a, there, I don't know if you can see. I'll move that wire out the road for now, and I'll try and move this regulator. Right, coming out the fucking way. Right, and there's, you can see there's a connector. Well, I hope you can see, because I don't know what you can see. So we'll just have that apart. Oh. And I'm just going to get this thing out of the way. It's catching on something. I can't see what at the minute. Right, why is that being an ass? It doesn't help when you can't see properly, right? But something's definitely catching in there. And stopping me pulling it forward. Heat under here. Oh, I'll tell you what it might be. I think I've got that cable. And there's another cable tie that I've put on. Let's just clamping it a bit on the tight side. So I'll snip that as well, which hopefully will give us a bit of slack. Or not. Can't remember putting the wiring in that tight, unless something's sat on it. Right, never to worry, I can get it as much out the way as I need it anyways, that's the main thing. Right, so what we've done here now is exposed the front engine mount. So I'll just pull some wires out of the way. That can shove up there. And I'll try and shove some of this lot out of the way so you can see a little bit better. Right, what I want to be doing is obviously I'm going to undo these two, but first I'm going to undo the big bolt that goes right through the middle of the engine mount. I'll undo this plate as well, and I'll probably take this off, because at the end of the day it's all to reset, so it's not a big issue, and we'll get this this front engine mount out. So I'll just get myself a bit better sorted and knock you off for a second while I get what I need, and I'll be back in a more. Right, what I've done off camera is I've loosened, well, one, I've swapped sides with you, but two, I've loosened everything off because I was having to jump backwards and forwards to each side, and you wouldn't have been able to see properly because I would have been keeping moving you. But I've loosened everything off, but I haven't took it off, if you know what I mean. I've just loosened it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take this adjuster bar off. So I'm doing the bolt. Now bear in mind I can't see the camera, so I'm just going to try and point at things. I'm undoing this end bolt, which, as you can see there, I hope. I'll just put that out the way. I'm going to undo this one here, and then lift that adjuster away, and what I'll do is I'll give it a bit of a clean while it's off. Now you can see there the plate's loose, but again I can't take it off yet. But what I can do is take this middle mounting bolt, nut and bolt off. So when you drop this off, you've got a huge washer on the bottom, and the nut off the bottom, and that just lifts straight out of the middle. I might have a new one of them, I don't know, I'll have a look. If not, we'll just have to give that a clean up. So stick that out to one side. Now I'll have to just get the screwdriver underneath here. Not screwdriver, it's right, what size are these? These are all 9/16, apart from this bolt here, which has still got the nut on the other end, this one which has still got the nut on the other end, and the one that went through the middle. The nut on the other end is, if I can see, I can't see fuck all, they are 11/16, but all the others are 9/16. So I'm just gonna get this socket up under here. And take that off. So that's the nut and bolt and washers off that side where the plate mounts to the engine. Stick that to one side, and then same on to the side. What I'm doing for obviously here first is I'm taking the plate off. Now there is movement, and the engine isn't going to drop because it's actually sat. Right, that's the other side off. The engine itself is actually sat on the jack. So as I'm not going to be driving the engine about at the minute, it's perfectly safe where it's at. But getting them out allows me to lift this plate out, which again I'll give a good clean while it's off. So I'll just stick that down there. And then that leaves these two bolts here, nut and bolt. And again, as I said earlier, the sizes, you can see you've got the 9/16 that side, but that side's a lot bigger, 11/16. So I'll take that off, and this side as well. And that allows you to then lift the front engine mount out. And that, while I've got to that sort of position, I'm going to come in, I'm going to have a bit of a clean up. Now when you come to set all this back up, one thing you'll notice is on the plate on the big hole here, you have got a bit of movement. You don't have a massive amount of movement on these, but you have got slots here. Now that allows your engine mount to move about when you're adjusting everything, so it keeps it all sort of unstressed, if that's the right word to use. So if, as an example, if you were to move the engine across that way, rather than the nut through the middle of the mount trying to do that, your mount can actually move across slightly, which just keeps the stress out of it, which makes it a lot better. So I'm going to have a quick nosy at this mount. The mount itself's fine. I just thought, because I'm replacing everything else, I just thought I'd change this one as well. Right, what I'll do is I'll get the I'll set you up in a different spot and I'll ratchet the new one out, and we'll compare the two to see what the differences are. Right, get myself up off the floor and knock you off and set you up in a different spot. Right, we'll be back in a minute.